Richard, do you know what 5G is? Do you know what 5G is? Do you know what 5G, how it works? What do you know about 5G, Swinny?
You know, I've heard so much about this 5G since the idea kind of rolled out to the general public. I'm guessing around late last year, maybe. To be honest, though, I don't really understand what it is or even like how it works. I know China and the US are involved somehow. It's something to do with telecommunications and connectivity. And I suppose it has to do with 4G and cellular data and all that. And for some reason, its rep has gone from bad to worse since this whole coronavirus thing started. And I'm not exactly sure why. Sounds like conspiracy theories to me.
Well, you could use the term conspiracy theories or you could use the term bullshit. Both are applicable. Are you familiar with 4G or even 3G?
Just the type that's on my phone, I guess.
Are you familiar with radio?
Yeah. Well, not the ins and outs of how it works, but I do like listening to the radio.
If you're driving a lorry up and down the road, you'll have the radio on all day. If you're in the warehouse, you'll have it piping through your speakers. If you're in the office, that's what you listen to. You might have it on your phone. You might have it on in the kitchen. You'd always have your radio on, and nobody is sat in their homes thinking, God, this radio is causing my corona to flare up today, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. 5G is radio.
Oh, that's what it is. It's the same thing that radio and other things use then.
Yeah, that's it. That's our podcast over, so we'll just wrap up there.
Oh, great.
It's radio. It's a certain bandwidth of radio, and it's a greater bandwidth than they've ever sort of been allowed. And by that, it means that before or currently, as we know it, we'll have 4G on our phones. If we go somewhere, it's useful in between whilst we're traveling or walking from one place to another. But you wouldn't sit in your office and work on 4G. You wouldn't go to a public place if there's free Wi-Fi. You'd use that preferentially over your 4G. 5G has the power to replace your modem, where you'd sit at home and you wouldn't have a modem, you'd have 5G.
Oh, that's crazy to think. Well, I guess maybe it's not that crazy, but it is quite a leap in technology that we've got. I know China and the US got involved into some sort of, kerfuffle there over the legalities of 5G. Why
Money,
is that?
money, money. What it always is with those pair, money.
Hmm.
There's no, yeah, they'll be spying, but guess what? They're all doing it. They're all just as bad as each other, and so is the UK. Just for clarity, um, you're based in Mexico with, well, North America, and you're kind of being held ransom by the president pig shit. I'm based in the UK. Um, the UK, America, China, all as bad. They're all spying on each other, and they all want to outdo each other. Whereas we'll sort of say, yeah, we'll get the Chinese in because it's cheaper. The Americans are trying to compete for that contract.
Hmm. And
It's just money related.
how did coronavirus get involved in all this? Is it just the coincidence that it rolled out at the same time it kind of came around?
So I think that it's multifactorial. I think it comes down to people not being particularly educated or believing crap they read, or someone's had it as a joke and they've taken it seriously. And I also think that not enough has been done by scientists such as us to denounce it. You know, it kind of cycles back to what we said at the start, is where we're saying, well, just getting someone on, oh, and today on our Good Morning whatever program, we're going to have this scientist, and he comes in and he talks, but all he's talking to is other scientists. He's not talking to everyone else, and doesn't connect. That's
Yeah.
why they have this belief.
I've seen some really insane theories too that it's like it doesn't just involve the 5G, it's like the 5G along with the coronavirus vaccine that Bill Gates is developing is going to control the world and mind control all this crap. And I think I'm guessing it
Well,
just has
boy,
to do with
Boy, howdy, is there a segue? So next week we're talking about Bill Gates. That Bill Gates caused this, or is the root of it for his vaccine? The World Health Organization did this, or it came from a Chinese lab. What else is being covered next week? Oh, Disney. Someone said it was Disney.
Oh
We're going to
wow.
dispel that one because, funnily enough, they didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't you believe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked right now. But I think it just
Did you
has to
not look
do
at the
with,
episode notes?
I'm just shocked that Disney didn't do it.
That's a
But
no. I didn't look at the episode notes.
no, I did not actually. I'm here for the laughs,
Yeah.
the giggles.
The bands, and that's all
Absolutely.
everyone should get away from this, is that we can provide that, even if they couldn't give a fuck about me or my field or how seriously I take my field and the profession of which this is the thing. So it is, I'm a chemist, chemistry chemist by trade. A lot of people in the past took chemistry very seriously and they treated it with respect, and that's the reason why when you say it today, people still treat it with respect. It's been looked after. No one thinks it's a fucking joke. And that's what really hurts me, is when I see other people who take science and they treat it as a joke, and the amount of damage that can do to the reputation of science and what I work really hard to dispel. That's what bothers me. It's disrespectful. It's hurtful.
Absolutely. And I think it really underplays all the fantastic work that and the trial and error that has gone into science for, decades, for centuries even, to really bring positive change to the world that we can so easily undermine because it's so integrated into our daily life that we don't even notice it's there anymore. But on a more serious note, so there's no way that this 5G connectivity, it can be linked to health issues in any way possible.
At 5G bandwidth, no. So when we're talking about 5G, we're talking about radio, right? Or radio waves. And this is where you might need to be a bit of an interpreter for the people at times and slow me down if I get ahead of myself. When we're talking about radio waves or any kind of electromagnetic spectrum, we are talking about just that, electrons. Sometimes we think of electrons as these little things that orbit a nuclei, and sometimes we think of them as these crazy waves. Well, they're actually both, and it's called wave-particle duality, and they display both the properties of a
It's
wave.
Einstein.
Yeah, well, not everyone's read Einstein, right? So these electrons have the property of a wave and a particle. It's the reason why we have a shadow. It's the reason why we have static, right? Why you get static shock. If you're pulling a pump truck across a warehouse floor for long enough with the wrong shoes on, you'll touch them and your hand will blow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we
Well,
think
I'll take
about
your word for it. Yeah.
well, you need to go and join the working class, sweetie. Right. Shit.
I am the working
You're
class, just not
elitist
in a
scum.
warehouse.
So when we think of electrons as waves, they are oscillating up and down like a wave. And the frequency of their oscillation, or the speed of how quickly they're going up and down as a wave, kind of denotes their properties. And much like we have a rainbow, where one light is separated into the colours, it's the same with the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum and the different electrons. So do you know the rhyme for remembering the colours of the rainbow?
I do not actually.
Oh, it's Roy Gabiv. Richard of York gave battle in vain. Red through to violet, right?
Well, that sounds quite UK centric, so I'm not surprised now. I never heard that rhyme. Oh my
And it's
gosh.
the same. I remember in year 10, I had my own mnemonic for the whole spectrum. And it was, now bear in mind, it was 2009, right? Rambo might invade Vietnam using X-ray guns. And that, for me, put the whole electromagnetic spectrum into place, from slowest to most dangerous. Rambo, radio, might, microwaves, invade, I, infrared. V is visible light, which is then also what we just spoke about, separated into its constituent colours. Using ultraviolet and X-rays, I couldn't think of anything other than X-rays, and then the whole kind of numeric was based around X-rays. And then G, guns. So Rambo might invade Vietnam using X-ray guns. And that's radio waves through to gamma rays, with 5G being given,
Yeah.
right? And that's the whole electromagnetic spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you just sat here and blasted yourself in microwaves, well, yeah, you'd know about it. Boy, howdy, would you know about it. Look what happens to your potato when you leave it in the microwave for a minute too long, right?
Oh god, it explodes.
It's a sad potato, sweetie.
I know, I've had it happen more than once.
Well, there you are. And it's the same reason why perhaps, if you've ever been near a bonfire or a barbecue, even though there's no visible flames there, it's still really hot. That's infrared, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 5G, the bandwidth we're talking about, is right on the far left side of radio, which is the safest of the safe. So no, there's no way 5G bandwidth would ever cause any issues. It can't be manipulated to do so. It can't be used in any way to do so.
Yeah. So on that same sort of wavelength, this whole idea that cell phones cause cancer are quite unfounded
In my
too.
opinion, yeah. Yeah. There's just not enough data to suggest otherwise. We know they can cause early onset blindness because you're staring at a phone for several hours a day. The same way we know that we're doing the same with the TV, right?
Yeah. But they can't be manipulated so that, you become a droid of Bill Gates or anything like that then.
No, but if I did ever become one of his next of kin, I would definitely like to be in that will.
I wouldn't mind chatting with Melinda Gates. I think she's pretty cool.
We'll get Melinda on the show. She can be our guest next week. Oh, no, she can't. We've got a guest next week. I'll talk about that later.
All right.
She's not allowed to be a guest next week. We've already got one.
Oh, poor Melinda. I'm sure she's really bummed.
Have you heard about this? Have you read these notes?
I have read the notes, okay?
Oh, good. Right. Well, at least one of us is paying attention. Boy, howdy. So there you have it, folks. 5G, it's just radio. It's all it ever is. It's what you've been surrounded with since, when was radio? It's really 1915 or so, something like that.
Yep. I mean, considering that, it was used throughout the First World War as a main form of communication, I'd say early 20th century, if not even a little bit later, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So, definitely around there.
Absolutely. That's all it is. It's just a certain little bit of bandwidth within the radio parameters, the radio frequency parameters. Nothing more, nothing
Not
less.
corona related at all.
Despite, again, if you're people who know that this causes corona, don't listen to this show anyway. And if they do, fuck you and don't listen to my show. No, it doesn't. We know it doesn't. But the problem is not everybody knows why it isn't, or they know what 5G is, but they don't know what 5G is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
And that's what we kind of hope to explain on this show, is we just bring clarity to ambiguous parts of our life that we take for granted. Because not only is radio 5G, but radio is also 4G and 3G and Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's given us so much in our daily life, so we have to appreciate it for what it is.
Hey,
Shall we move on then?